Did you know that a staggering 64% of men admit to viewing pornography at least once a week? And studies suggest that porn addiction contributes to marital dissatisfaction in over 56% of divorce cases. These are not just numbers. They're the screams of dying relationships. Is your marriage bed a battlefield of unspoken resentment, fueled by the silent killer of digital lust? I am not here to offer you polite suggestions or sugar-coated platitudes. I am here to rip the veil off the insidious destroyer that is pornography and expose the hidden truths about how it decimates intimacy, going far, far beyond the tired old arguments you've probably already heard. We will delve into the neurochemical warfare, the betrayal deeper than any physical affair, the twisted fantasies that warp reality, and the emotional chasm it creates, leaving behind a wasteland where love once flourished. Prepare yourself, because this is not going to be comfortable. This is going to be a brutal, unflinching look at the monster lurking in the shadows of your bedroom, and more importantly, inside the screen of your devices. We're talking about the very soul of your connection, the lifeblood of your marriage, being slowly, systematically poisoned. This is a wake-up call, a siren screaming in the night, and you'd better damn well listen. The dopamine hijack. Why porn is more addictive than cocaine for some. Let's cut the pleasantries and get straight to the brutal truth. Your brain on porn is a brain under siege. We're not talking about a harmless pastime here. We're talking about a neurochemical firestorm that can obliterate your capacity for genuine intimacy. Why? Because, for some men, porn acts on the brain with a force exceeding that of some of the most addictive drugs. It all boils down to one crucial neurotransmitter, dopamine. Imagine your brain's pleasure center, specifically the nucleus accumbens, as a pristine, crystal-clear lake. This lake is naturally fed by streams of dopamine released during everyday enjoyable activities. A delicious meal, a loving embrace, a satisfying workout, or even intimate sex with a partner. These activities cause a healthy flow of dopamine, creating feelings of pleasure, satisfaction, and bonding. Now, introduce pornography. Porn isn't a gentle stream. It's a raging tsunami of dopamine. Its Niagara falls crashing into that pristine lake, flooding it with unnaturally high levels of this potent neurotransmitter. Why is it so extreme? Because porn is designed to be hyperstimulating. It's an endless buffet of novelty, variety, and increasingly extreme content, all engineered to trigger an unprecedented dopamine rush. Each new image, each new video, each new click is a jolt to the system, far surpassing anything encountered in a typical, healthy sexual relationship. This is where the dopamine hijack begins. Your brain, in its relentless pursuit of efficiency, starts to adapt to these artificially inflated levels of dopamine. It does this by downregulating dopamine receptors. Think of it like this. The lake is overflowing, so the brain starts building dams, reducing the number of entry points for dopamine to have its effect. This is dopamine desensitization. The result: activities that used to provide pleasure, including loving, intimate sex with your partner, now feel blah. The gentle stream of marital intimacy is now perceived as a stagnant, muddy puddle compared to the roaring flood of porn-induced dopamine. This desensitization leads to a vicious cycle. To achieve the same level of pleasure, the user needs more novelty, more intensity, more extreme content. This is the escalating nature of porn addiction. What started as a casual viewing habit can quickly spiral into a desperate chase for that ever-elusive dopamine high. And the more extreme the content, the more the brain rewires itself, further diminishing the capacity for pleasure from real-life interactions. This rewiring can manifest in disturbingly physical ways. The so-called death grip is a prime example. The intense, repetitive, and often forceful masturbatory techniques employed while consuming pornography can physically desensitize the penis, making it difficult and sometimes impossible to achieve orgasm through normal intercourse. The man becomes conditioned to a specific, often aggressive type of stimulation that his partner simply cannot replicate. Studies, such as those published in behavioral sciences and JAMA psychiatry, increasingly highlight the correlation between compulsive porn use and erectile dysfunction, decreased libido, and overall sexual dissatisfaction. And the science is only beginning to unveil the extent of the damage. We're facing a future where hyperstimulation and dopamine desensitization will be discussed by everyone. Make no mistake, this isn't just about physical sensation. This is about fundamentally altering the brain's reward pathways, making it harder and harder to experience pleasure, connection, and intimacy in the real world. It's about prioritizing a pixelated fantasy over the flesh and blood reality of your partner. And the consequences, as we'll explore, are devastating. The erosion of trust, the secret life, the lies, the betrayal. This is where the insidious rot truly sets in. It's not just about the act of watching porn. It's about the elaborate web of deceit that's spun around it. This is about the secret life, a hidden world carved out within the supposed sanctity of the marriage. It is the constant, low-humming anxiety of getting caught, the carefully crafted lies, the deleted browser histories, the furtive glances, the coded language, all of it building a wall, brick by deceitful brick, between him and his partner. Imagine this. He sneaks off to the bathroom, phone clutched in his hand like a forbidden treasure. The door clicks shut, a soft, almost imperceptible sound, but in the silence of the marriage, it echoes like a gunshot. She lies awake in their bed, staring at the ceiling, the faint glow of the streetlights painting shadows on the wall. She knows, maybe not consciously, not yet with concrete proof, but she feels it. She feels the icy chasm widening between them, a growing void where intimacy and trust once resided. It's a chilling, isolating loneliness, the kind that gnaws at the soul. And this is where the true damage is inflicted. Because this behavior, this secret life, it's a form of infidelity. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's a digital affair, a betrayal of the marital bond, a silent scream in the heart of the relationship. He's giving his attention, his energy, his desire to pixels on a screen, to fabricated scenarios, to strangers, instead of to the woman who pledged her life to him. He's choosing fantasy over reality, illusion over connection. The emotional impact on the partner is devastating, and it mirrors the pain of a physical affair. Imagine the feelings, the crushing weight of inadequacy, the agonizing sting of rejection, the corrosive acid of worthlessness. Am I not attractive enough? Am I not exciting enough? What am I doing wrong? What do they have that I don't? These questions become a relentless torment, a self-inflicted torture fueled by his secret actions. She might start to withdraw, to build her own walls, to protect herself from the pain. Intimacy becomes a minefield. Every touch, every word, every glance laden with suspicion and unspoken resentment. The trust, the bedrock of any healthy relationship, begins to crumble. Let's paint a vivid, albeit painful, scenario, the moment of discovery. Perhaps she finds incriminating evidence on his phone, a forgotten browser history, a hidden folder. The confrontation is raw, explosive. Tears, accusations, denials, justifications, the air thickens with the stench of betrayal. He might try to downplay it, to minimize the damage. It's just porn. It doesn't mean anything. But she sees the truth, the agonizing reality of his secret life laid bare. The pain is visceral, a gut-wrenching blow that leaves her reeling. It's the shattering of an illusion, the death of innocence, the realization that the man she thought she knew has been living a double life. It's not just porn. It's a violation, a profound breach of trust that may never be fully repaired. It's a fundamental disrespect to the sacred vows of marriage. He made a choice, a deliberate choice, to prioritize a fleeting digital gratification over the well-being and emotional security of his partner. And that choice has consequences, far-reaching and devastating consequences that threaten to unravel the very fabric of their life together. The fantasy versus reality distortion, unrealistic expectations, and the death of authentic connection. Let's be brutally honest, shall we? Pornography isn't about reality. It's a hyper-real, digitally enhanced, meticulously crafted lie. It's a fantasy factory churning out impossible scenarios, airbrushed bodies, and stamina that would make a marathon runner blush. Porn sets the bar so unbelievably high. It's not just orbiting Jupiter. It's colonizing another galaxy. What's the inevitable consequence? Your real-life partner, the woman who loves you, flaws and all, starts to look different. The insidious creep of porn's influence warps your perception. Suddenly, genuine intimacy, the kind built on shared moments, whispered secrets, and real connection, feels underwhelming. It's like comparing a Michelin star meal to a microwave dinner. One is crafted with care and nuance. The other is designed for instant gratification and leaves you feeling empty afterward. Your wife's gentle touch, her genuine smile, the way she looks at you with love in her eyes, these become pale imitations of the digitally enhanced fireworks display you've become accustomed to. You are, unknowingly, chasing a phantom. She is a digitally enhanced ghost, perfect and beautiful, with no imperfections. A ghost. And do you know what ghosts do? They make it impossible to touch, to feel the real. Your real life partner, with all her beautiful imperfections, her real body, her real emotions, gradually fades and becomes invisible. Think about it. Porn relentlessly objectifies women. They're reduced to body parts, to moans and groans, to instruments of pleasure devoid of genuine emotion. This isn't about judging. It's about recognizing the brutal truth of the medium. And that objectification, that dehumanization, doesn't stay confined to the screen. It bleeds into your marriage, into the way you see your wife. You start to view her, perhaps subconsciously, through a porn-tainted lens. The natural curve of her belly, the laugh lines around her eyes, the small imperfections that make her these become flaws, shortcomings, deviations from the impossible ideal you've been consuming. She's not performing acrobatics in bed. She's not a 20-year-old with an impossibly perfect body, because real life isn't porn. And with time, you stop seeing her as your partner. You stop seeing your partner, the woman you vowed to love and cherish, and you subconsciously begin to see her as an object, subject to a constant, silent comparison to the unattainable fantasies flickering on your screen. The emotional intimacy, the vulnerability, the shared history, all of that starts to crumble under the weight of unrealistic expectations and the silent judgment that porn has insidiously cultivated. This is the death of authentic connection, the slow, agonizing demise of a love poisoned by the venom of digital illusion. The question is, are you man enough to face the truth and reclaim the real, vibrant beauty of the woman right in front of you? The avoidance of true intimacy, emotional disconnect, and the fear of vulnerability. Let's be brutally honest here. Pornography, in its most insidious form, is a meticulously crafted escape hatch. It's a coward's retreat, a digital bunker where men hide from the messy, beautiful, and often terrifying reality of genuine human connection. It is the ultimate avoidance tactic, a meticulously constructed shield against the vulnerability that real intimacy demands. Think about it. Real relationships are hard. They require work, compromise, and the agonizing, often awkward dance of open communication. They demand that you expose your flaws, your insecurities, your deepest fears to another human being. That's terrifying for many men, especially those raised with the insidious man up mantra that equates vulnerability with weakness. Porn offers a seemingly perfect alternative. No demands, no expectations, no risk of rejection, no need for emotional reciprocity. It's a one-way street of instant gratification, a sterile, controlled environment where the man is always in control, always the dominant force. It's a lie, of course, a gilded cage, but a powerfully seductive one. This escape fosters a profound emotional detachment. The addict learns to compartmentalize his sexuality, separating it from genuine emotion and connection. He becomes increasingly unable to communicate his needs and desires authentically to his partner. Why bother wrestling with the complexities of real-life emotional negotiations when he can simply click a button and achieve instant, albeit hollow, satisfaction? The dialogue, the subtle cues, the unspoken language of love, all of it atrophies, withers, and dies from neglect. The fear of rejection becomes a monstrous, self-fulfilling prophecy. He fears being truly seen, truly known, because he subconsciously believes he's not worthy, not enough. He spent so long indulging in fantasy that the reality of his own imperfections feels unbearable. So, he retreats further into the digital world, avoiding the very connection he craves. He builds walls of silence and distance, pushing his partner away while simultaneously yearning for her closeness. It's a tragic, self-destructive paradox. Is he more comfortable with pixels on a screen than the beating heart of his wife? Ask yourself that question and let the answer chill you to the bone. Is the fleeting, simulated pleasure of a digital encounter truly more fulfilling than the messy, imperfect, but real love of a committed partner? Here are some concrete examples of how this avoidance manifests. The late night scroll. He stays up late, long after she's fallen asleep, lost in the glow of his phone or computer. The marital bed becomes a place of isolation, not connection. The emotional shutdown. He withdraws emotionally, becoming distant and unresponsive. He offers perfunctory answers, avoids eye contact, and generally acts as if she's a stranger, not his life partner. The manufactured arguments. He picks fights over trivial matters, creating distance and justifying his need for space that he then fills with pornography. The sexual apathy. He shows little or no interest in physical intimacy with his partner. He might make excuses, feign exhaustion, or simply avoid any situation that might lead to sex. He's getting his fix elsewhere, and the real thing feels underwhelming, demanding, scary. The busy excuse. He's perpetually busy with work, hobbies, or anything else that keeps him from having to engage in meaningful conversation or spend quality time with his partner. He's a master of deflection, a ghost in his own home. He is physically there, but in his soul, he's a million miles away. This isn't just about sex. It's about the death of intimacy in all its forms. It's about the slow, agonizing erosion of the emotional bond that holds a marriage together. It's about a man choosing a fantasy over a reality, a screen over a soul, a fleeting digital high over a lifetime of genuine connection. It's the ultimate betrayal, not just of his partner, but of himself. He is trading true intimacy for instant gratification, and he is doing it one click at a time, destroying the very foundation of his marriage, brick by miserable brick. Reclaiming intimacy, the hard road to recovery and rebuilding the bond. Forget the sugar-coated, feel-good nonsense. We're not talking about lighting some candles and hopping for the best. This isn't about quick fixes or weekend retreats. This is about a raw, gut-wrenching, life-altering transformation. We're talking about ripping out the rotten core of addiction and rebuilding your marriage from the smoldering ashes, stronger and more resilient than ever before. This is war, a brutal, relentless battle for the soul of your marriage, a fight for your very survival as a man and as a couple. There will be casualties. There will be setbacks. There will be moments where you want to give up, to crawl back into the comforting darkness of your digital escape. But I'm telling you, victory is possible if you're willing to fight for it with every fiber of your being. Step 1. Absolute, unflinching honesty. The purge. This means confessing everything. No more secrets, no more half-truths, no more minimizing the damage. It's a verbal bloodletting, a painful but necessary excision of the cancerous lies that have been festering in your relationship. You must lay bare the full extent of your addiction, the frequency, the triggers, the specific content, everything. Imagine stripping yourself naked, emotionally and spiritually, in front of your partner. It's terrifying, it's humiliating, but it's the only way to begin the healing process. This isn't just about admitting what you've done. It's about confessing the why. What void were you trying to fill? What pain were you trying to numb? What insecurities were you trying to mask? This is where brutal self-confrontation begins. Step 2. Seek professional reinforcements. Enlist the generals. This is not a battle you can win alone. You need seasoned warriors, experts in the field of addiction recovery. This means finding a qualified therapist, preferably one specializing in sex addiction. Consider joining a support group like Sex Addicts Anonymous SAW. These are not places of shame. They are training grounds for recovery, where you can connect with other men fighting the same demons. Think of it as joining an elite military unit, where you learn the strategies and tactics necessary to defeat your enemy. The therapist and support group will provide the structure, accountability, and guidance you desperately need. They will help you identify your triggers, develop coping mechanisms, and address the underlying issues fueling your addiction. They will challenge you, push you, and hold you accountable for your actions. Step 3. Radical transparency. Open borders, no secrets. This means giving your partner full access to your digital life. Your phone, your computer, your browsing history, everything is open for inspection. This is not about control. It's about rebuilding trust. It's about demonstrating your commitment to honesty and transparency. Think of it as a surveillance system, not to punish you, but to protect your marriage. It's a constant reminder of your commitment to recovery and a visible demonstration that you have nothing to hide. This level of vulnerability is crucial for your partner's healing and for re-establishing a sense of safety and security in the relationship. Step 4. The partner's healing. The collateral damage. Your addiction hasn't just wounded you. It has inflicted deep wounds on your partner. She needs her own healing journey, and you must support her every step of the way. This may involve individual therapy for her, couples therapy for both of you, and a lot of patient, empathetic listening. She needs to be able to express her anger, her hurt, her betrayal, without judgment or defensiveness. You must acknowledge the pain you've caused and validate her feelings, even if they're difficult to hear. Remember, her trust has been shattered. It will take time, consistent effort, and unwavering commitment to rebuild it. Her healing is not a secondary concern. It is integral to the overall recovery of the marriage. Step 5. Rebuilding intimacy. Beyond the physical, forging a new connection. This is not just about having sex again. In fact, sex may need to be off the table for a while, as you focus on rebuilding emotional and spiritual intimacy. This means learning to communicate authentically, to share your thoughts and feelings, to be vulnerable with each other. It means rediscovering shared interests, spending quality time together, and engaging in activities that foster connection. Think of it as courting your partner all over again, but this time with a deeper understanding of yourselves and each other. It's about creating new, healthy patterns of interaction, replacing the old, destructive ones. Start with small gestures of affection, acts of service, and words of affirmation. Learn to listen actively, to empathize deeply, and to truly see your partner not as an object of your desire, but as a whole person with her own needs, desires, and dreams. Step 6. The long march. Relentless discipline, unwavering commitment. Recovery is not a destination. It's a lifelong journey. There will be temptations. There will be triggers. There will be moments of weakness. You must develop a relapse prevention plan, a strategy for dealing with these challenges. This may involve identifying your high-risk situations, developing coping mechanisms, and having a support system in place to help you through the tough times. Think of it as a lifelong commitment to vigilance, a constant awareness of the enemy lurking in the shadows. You must cultivate iron discipline, steel will, and an unwavering commitment to your recovery and to your marriage. This is the price of freedom, the cost of reclaiming your life and your relationship. This is the hard road, the path of a true warrior. Are you going to let porn be the tombstone of your marriage, a testament to your weakness and failure? Or are you going to fight? Are you going to rise from the ashes, scarred but stronger, and reclaim the love, the connection, the intimacy you once shared? The choice is yours. Remain a slave to the screen, a prisoner of your own desires, or become the master of your destiny, the architect of a truly intimate, fulfilling marriage, and a man worthy of respect. Choose wisely. Your marriage, your life, depends on it. Let's cut the niceties, shall we? We're not here for feel-good platitudes. We're here for a brutal, honest confrontation with the reality you've created. So, I ask you, and I want you to really hear this. Are you going to let porn be the tombstone of your marriage? Will you let this insidious digital poison etch the final, pathetic epitaph on a relationship that once held promise, love, and a shared future? Will you stand idly by, a passive observer, as the vibrant tapestry of your connection unravels thread by thread, leaving behind only the frayed remnants of what could have been? Or are you going to fight? Are you going to summon the courage, the grit, the raw, untamed will to claw your way back from the precipice? Are you ready to wage war against this addiction, to confront the demons that whisper sweet lies of escape and pleasure? Are you prepared to endure the agonizing withdrawal, the self-recrimination, the sheer, unadulterated pain of reclaiming your life, your marriage, your soul? Imagine this. Years from now, you're sitting across from your wife, not in the cold, sterile silence of resentment and regret, but in the warm glow of a rekindled flame. You see the scars, yes, the faint lines etched by past hurts, by the battles fought and won. But you also see something far more powerful, a deep, unwavering connection, forged in the crucible of shared struggle, of mutual forgiveness, of a love that has been tested and proven stronger than any digital fantasy. Her eyes, once clouded with pain and mistrust, now shine with a radiant love, a love that reflects the immense strength you both discovered within yourselves. You see the children thriving, secure in the knowledge that their parents chose each other, chose family, chose reality over the fleeting, empty promises of a pixelated world. You feel the weight of her hand in yours, not the desperate clinging of a drowning woman, but the firm, confident grip of a partner, a co-warrior, a lover who has walked through fire with you and emerged victorious. This isn't a fairy tale. This is the potential reality, the hard-won reward that awaits you if you choose to fight. But it demands everything. It demands absolute honesty, brutal self-reflection, and a relentless commitment to the long, arduous journey of recovery. There will be relapses, moments of doubt, times when you want to surrender to the siren song of instant gratification. But in those moments, remember the image of that future, of that rekindled love, of that unbreakable bond. The choice is stark, terrifying in its simplicity. You can remain a slave to the screen, a prisoner of your own desires, a ghost haunting the periphery of your own life, forever chasing the fleeting high, the empty promise of digital lust. Or you can become the master of your destiny, the architect of a truly intimate, fulfilling marriage, the man your wife deserves, the father your children need. Choose wisely. Choose decisively. Your marriage, your very life, hangs in the balance. This is not a game. This is your legacy. What will it be?